Good evening to everyone. Welcome to another edition of Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast. I am the host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast. Broadcasting once again here from Dallas, Fort Worth. I hope everybody had a great, productive Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great night. Hope everybody getting everything done. We know that this is Thanksgiving week. We know everybody's getting prepared for Thanksgiving on Thursday with family, friends, loved ones, a feast where all families come together. We know that it also is football as well. You know, the Dallas Cowboys play this Thursday night, so I'm pulling for them to win back to back on this Thursday night against the Giants. I'm looking forward to that game. But once again, we thank everybody for checking us out, hanging out with us tonight here on the podcast. And we are flying on through November already. It's November the 22nd. And like I said, this year is gone. This has been a great, phenomenal year for a lot of people. We know it's been a trying time for some, but most importantly, you're still standing. So like I said, I welcome everybody once again here on the podcast. Very excited about tonight with our guest tonight, our featured guest, Ebony Tha Goddess. She's out of Moms Point, Mississippi. She's a entrepreneur, spoken word artist. She's uh, a one of all trades. She does a lot, and she's hanging out with me here tonight. Introduce herself to the audience. But before we get started, I got my boy, my brother, Kenny Primetime Williams back in the building with me tonight as he brings the latest sports news and updates. We know that the NFL, NBA, you name it's going on. So if you're a fan of football, basketball, or you just love sports in general, like I said, Kenny got some updates that's going on around the sports world. So very stuff like that. So once again, we're back here on Tuesday night. So if you are watching us right now on Facebook Live, share, like, comment, and most importantly, share with everybody. If you have questions for Ebony, put a Q in the comment section. If you have any questions from the audience watching us tonight. So I'm very excited. So I want my guest to introduce herself. Ebony, go ahead and introduce yourself to those that's watching us for here on Walking This Way's Impact Wars podcast.
Hi everybody. I am Ebony Tha Goddess. My legal name is Ebony Bradley. Like you said, I am a spoken word artist, a singer, musician, entrepreneur. I do quite a few things. I have been doing spoken word for about 4 years. I just celebrated my 4-year anniversary, so I haven't been in the game that long. But my reach is definitely growing every day. My impact is definitely growing, and definitely my skills are growing every day. And poetry has been definitely a tool that has allowed me to heal myself, and it also allows me to help others in different ways. Um, but it's definitely something that I feel like has always been there, but I didn't allow the true talent that I have to shine through, I guess we could say. And life has a funny way of bringing those type of gifts and talents out of you. So I'm just definitely blessed to be able to do something that I love, impact people while doing it, and to actually share it with so many different people.
And you know, and that's a beautiful thing. And you mentioned healing. You know, a lot of people do need healing, male and female side of things. You know, we deal with a lot of had a lot of hurt, a lot of setback, a lot of disappointment, trauma, that people from different walks of life have experienced, have not got the help for it. They still have those past things that hinder them. Learning how to be real, open with yourself. And that's what I'm noticing now, that a lot of people are becoming real with themselves, because I know everything starts with self first. You know, I had posted on my Facebook page a couple of days ago, if I'm not consistent with myself, how can I be consistent with anybody else? So we know that it starts with self first. So if I don't love myself first, it's going to be impossible for me to love anybody else. But the healing is very important. And I know, like the Bible tells us, confess your faults one to another, that you pray that you may be healed. So it is God's will for us to be healed in every area of our lives. And that's a beautiful thing about it. And honestly, I know I connected with you on Instagram. I reached out to you. You faithfully respond back. to me to be on this platform with tonight. Just introduce yourself to the audience for the very first time. And that really ties into my first question. Who is Ebony? Who is the woman behind Ebony?
That's a layered question. um, Anytime I'm asked that question, my first impulse wants me to explain it using what I am for other people. So I'm going to reject that impulse and I'm going to say what I've been for myself. Um, for myself, I've been a nurturer, as I said, a healer. Um, I've been gracious and merciful. I feel like everything that we looked for, that I've looked for other people with, within other people for, that in the last few years, I'll say at least the last 2 to 3 years, I've learned that I have to go to self first for. So everything that you were naming before, I have been looking for that oneness, I guess you could say, within myself. So I have definitely been that for myself. But even beyond that, I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am definitely a friend to some. I am very, what's the word? I'm very inquisitive.
Mhm.
um, I've also in these last few years been very patient. That's really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I've been really patient. And beyond that, I can even say I don't know if I told you this before, but I'm a part of 2020 podcast of Mobile, Alabama. I'm more of a behind the scenes,
Okay.
so I don't really do as much stuff in the forefront. I'm also a part of quite a few poetry troops. So I'm going to name them, but it's quite a few. The very first one, Dear to My Heart, Black on Black Rhyme, steps in my poetry troupe of Mobile, Alabama. I'm also a part of the Lost Tribe of Poets on Clubhouse. I am Voice of the Voiceless on Clubhouse. Um, One Love Poetry Series, Bomb Squad on Clubhouse. I'm also a part of the Honey Dripper Collective. I'm also a part of the Society of Poets. I'm a part of a few places on Clubhouse. And I thank God for Clubhouse in particular because it's allowed me to grow my reach globally. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but that app has allowed me to not only expand my reach, but expand my vision on what I can do, my capabilities and things. It's definitely stretched my pen. In the last year, I've written things that me 2 years ago be like, oh, we wrote that, you know. So I love Clubhouse. I'm in the process of writing my first book, so it's definitely pushed me there. I have some tumblers, Ebony Tha Goddess tumblers that I've been selling. I've been doing T-shirts, things like that. So I have some other ventures that I want to go into going into 2023. So it's definitely opened my mind as to what I can do, how I can, marginalize on the things that I do, and find a way to what's the word to not just be a blessing to others, but to also testify and tell about myself, my journey. A lot of times I tell people that we take our traumas everywhere. Well, I'm trying to take the positive things with me now. So that's what my goal is right now.
You know what, Edmund? That's what it's all about. Positivity. We feel it's so much negative stuff in the world that's going on. You know it. Every day we see something negative. The news start off with bad news because that's how they make their money. They don't. They're not gonna start with nothing good, but the positive aspect of things. And now that you're staying productive, the old folks used to say, "Idle minds is devil workshop." Not staying idle, but being productive, utilizing all your gifts, utilizing all your talent, being a student of the game. That's what it's all about. The Bible says that our gift should make room for us. It didn't say your college degree. It didn't say your name. It didn't say who you know. your gift. See, everybody has a gift. You have to tap it. You have to find what your gift is and tap into it. And your gift most likely something that's second nature to you. And you just gotta open that gift. That gift is gonna open up doors for you. And when you utilize your gift, what happens? You're gonna start meeting different people. And the Bible said they will bring forth great men. So it's always gonna be people that's already equipped and already established to give you what you need while you utilize your gift. So utilize your gift of those that's listening to us tonight. Find your gift, find out what you're good at, and utilize it. And another thing is be patient too. They didn't build the Great Wall of China in one day. It took time, and that's what people understand. Everything takes time. Being consistent. I have to give a big shout out to Day David Reed here in the DFW area. This young man, he just catapulted overnight. I remember me and Coach Shay met him downtown at her studio. He was selling breakfast burritos. Now he went from selling breakfast burritos, just did a music video, and I think he opened up for a well-known artist in Austin, Texas. But what I admire about this young man that he was consistent. Mm-hmm. Consistent pays off. Don't base stuff off how you feel. Like I said, I love doing what I'm doing here on the show, the platform. I love interviewing. I love talking to people. And is there days when I don't feel like doing it? Yeah, but I still have to do it because I have to stay consistent. Because if I base stuff on how I feel, we're not gonna get anything done in life. We just gonna go along with the emotions. So that's what I just want to share that one. And I just want to ask you this question, Tim. And this question is, why did you choose the name The Goddess? And I'm gonna ask you, I seen somebody post something negative on Facebook about that. They said a narcissist, and it was so many hateful comments about the goddess. It's crazy that somebody would think like that. I kind of ignored it. It was stupid. But how do you choose? What made you choose that name of the goddess? When I think of that, my opinion, when I think of that, you're confident who you are. You love who you are. You know who God made you to be. Because I was sharing this with a friend of mine today, that the Bible said that we are God. That's in the Bible. It tells you that. And so why do you choose the name the goddess?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. To tackle the first reason, the poet, I'll say that I view as my poetic idol, named Lady Tessica Williams. She actually passed back in 2019. But the first time I saw her do poetry, the like you said, the confidence that she exuded, the passion that she exuded, the way of talking about things that I felt like I went through. It's like, how did she know? It's like she was telling my truth for me. It may have been her truth too, but just the fact of how she told the story, it was like me watching the story, my story from somebody else's point of view, and the power that I felt from her. It was like I was watching what I viewed as a goddess, and it was like me realizing that I have that same power in me, and it's one of those things where people hear me say the goddess, and they're like, oh, like you said, they assume they attach their perception of what I'm saying when I say the goddess on me, and it's like that's not what this is. Me, I didn't plan on talking about this at all, but I've been a victim of domestic violence. And the path of rebuilding myself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of these things took such a long time. And poetry, I guess you could say I was numb until I found poetry. So until I found poetry, I didn't have that confidence. I didn't, I was real timid. I was real soft spoken. Somebody could tell me, "Oh, you ugly," and I would probably start crying. That's just how I guess you could say broken I was. I don't like using the term broke because I wasn't broken.
Right.
but that I'll say that's how I perceive myself as broken. But the seeing her made me want to do poetry, made me want to give people the feeling that she gave me in that moment. I laughed, I cried, I was happy, I was sad, every emotion possible in 4 poems is what I felt watching her. And I felt like if I could give people that feeling and evoke the type of healing that she evoked, she made me want to do better. She made me want to be a better woman. So if I could do that thing for other women, then I felt like that would be, me essentially walking in my truth and being what I'm supposed to be for other people. And the goddess is me, one, acknowledging where I've been, also kind of mapping out the path of who I want to be, while at the same time understanding that I can be powerful and weak at the same time, if that makes sense. I can have those days where basically my lows don't necessarily dictate my highs. If today I feel good, if today I want to sing, I'm going to sing. If
Mhm.
today I want to walk on the beach barefoot, I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to do it based on what other people feel about me, what other people think about me. It's not about you. It's not about the goddess has nothing to do with any external factors whatsoever. It's all about me. It's all about who I am. It's all about who I'm trying to be. At some point, I'm going to be an old lady sitting on the porch with 20 grandkids. So the pathway to the goddess is reaching that. And I feel like people assume that the goddess is who I am. No, it's who I'm working on to be. So when I do take that last breath, that moment is where I will have completed that task of being a goddess.
Awesome. And you mentioned and also made big shout out to those who have survived domestic violence, men and women. Big shout out to those who are survivors of that. That's something you never expect going through in any relationship. Domestic violence. I don't agree when a man put his hands on a woman. I'm like this. If it's to the point we have to physically hurt each other, we don't need to be together. We need to go in separate ways. But at the same time, if you're dealing with anger issue or any type of trauma, get some help. Get some professional psychological help. The woman's not a punching bag. If you that mad, go punch a wall. Go take her some kickboxing classes. Go take her some box classes. Take your frustration out on other things, not the woman you say you love. That's sick to me. So and I believe you put your hand and you out there beating on a woman, you deserve to go to jail. Point blank. Period. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care whether she make you mad. No, you just mad with yourself, and that's I just want to say that. So that's how did you cope with that with the domestic violence? I know it did something to you. But what was that point where it we ain't plan on talking about tonight, but what was that point where you playing that enough is enough? I seen and I'm back at home in Mobile and I work within the system. And it's sad that it was a lot of young women who lost their lives due to domestic violence. Um, it's sad, you know what I'm saying? But as a survivor, when you got to that point, enough was enough to get out of that toxic environment.
Well, here's another layer to add on to it that I didn't plan on talking about. I was actually 9 months pregnant at the time that it happened the very last time.
Mm.
I was pregnant with my second son at the time, and pregnant with the first son, something happened, and I had moved to Tallahassee, Florida. We had moved to Tallahassee, Florida, and I left them, after a situation happened. But somehow we ended up back together again, ended up pregnant with my second son. And when that particular situation happened, he was holding my first son. And when he punched me, it was like that particular time, I had never shed blood. I've had bruises, I've had marks and things, but it was the bloodshed. When
Mm.
he punched me in my face, holding my son. I just remember looking at the floor and seeing blood coming from somewhere, didn't know where it was coming from. And just the just remembering that, you know, that moment is what made me leave, because I realized up until that point I had already had dreams that either he ended up in prison and killed me, or I killed him and ended up in prison. You know, it was one of those scenarios. Somebody was gonna end up dead, killed, something like that. So all the scenarios had played out in my dreams. So I was like, okay, you know, you got to do something. So when this particular day happened, all I could think about was those dreams, and I was like, if I'm not gonna leave for me, I gotta leave for these boys. I gotta leave.
Right.
So I actually wrote a lot of poetry regarding that situation, but that particular situation, I only left because of the kids.
Yeah.
And just to even think about a person having more regard for their kids' lives than they do theirs is crazy, but that's where a lot of people are with it, you know. Some of them don't even reach that point,
They don't.
just being honest. So, hey,
They don't.
I learned my lesson. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know, and thank God you did learn your lesson and you didn't go
Yeah.
back to that toxic environment. That just showed that you loved yourself. Now I say you did that for your sons, and now that your sons need to be around a man that would teach them how to treat a woman, knowing that it's not she being a punching bag, but you loving her, protecting her, cherishing her. You know what I'm saying? The man supposed to protect this woman. He provides and stuff like that. They don't need to see where a man puts his. I don't even say that's not a man. A male. A male does that kind of. A man's not gonna harm his woman. He's gonna take care of his woman. He'll fight for his woman when he has to, but he won't fight her. He'll fight for her, and that's how it's supposed to be on all calls. But that's enough about that. You know, we were talking about, so we're here being positive and uplifting and stuff like that. But somebody needed to hear that. Hey, but if you are in a domestic situation, get the hell out of it. Please get the hell out of it. Get help. Find somebody to help you. Don't stay in that toxic environment because your life is not worth it. It's two places. One going to jail, one going to dead, one gonna be dead, or both gonna be dead. Cause a lot of times they'll kill that person. They kill themselves too. So God is sparing you. Get out of it. Move on. And it's places that can help you in these type of stuff, that situation that's going on. So hey, by all means, get the hell out of that stuff. Please do. Another thing I want to talk about, you do have an album out now. It's called Ebony Speaks, and it's on Bandcamp.com. Big shout out to you on that. Congratulations on that. I didn't know you did an album, so I looked it up. But what is
the album cover behind me?
Okay, then. But what is the album all about, and how long has it been out?
It's actually been out since 2021. I released it in April, but I didn't release it on social media because it's also on Apple Music, Spotify, all of those. I didn't release it until last December, actually on my birthday, Christmas Eve last year.
Okay.
So it is available on all streaming platforms. Ebony Speaks. So the easiest way for me to explain Ebony Speaks is because of the situation, like I said, with my past, everything up until that point, I just internalized, you know, over time, years. And I mean, even things from my childhood, I just internalized everything. And I didn't realize how detrimental that was until I started writing about it. And going back and writing things that I didn't realize I hadn't healed from is what birthed Ebony Speaks. But like I said, a lot of it goes back to that first time seeing Lady Tess speak, watching her, because she actually did a domestic violence piece. And I think that's what got me. It was like, okay, I gotta let this out. I gotta get this out of me, you know. And seeing her, I just remember that was a part where she just repeatedly was hitting her hand, and I was just having a moment. I was crying and everything. And I think about that with some of the poetry that I was writing for this album. I didn't specifically write the poems for the album, but every poem in here is some element of something about myself that I never spoke to people out in the open until I started writing the poetry about it. So even people that knew me didn't really even know some of the things that I felt or that I thought about.
Hey, hey, and I didn't know you went through all that until you just mentioned that tonight here on the podcast. That you never know a person's story until they actually reveal it to you. That you went through that, and now that you're helping somebody else, because we know that it's a lot of people who are going through domestic disputes. Some right, and let's just be real. Someone's being assaulted right now in a home. We don't know, in the jails. We don't know, but it's going around right now. Whether it's physically, sexually, mentally, you name it. Somebody's being assaulted somewhere. And it's sad that you will want to harm a human life, just to hurt a human life, and be cold about it. And that's sick. And that really is. But like I said, thank God that you got out of that, and and that you share your truth, and not only that, you share your beliefs as well. But my next question is, what advice you gave your younger self?
That's a layered question. What advice would I give my younger self? I definitely would tell my younger self to be more graceful with yourself. I am very hard on myself about things, and it took me to get 30 plus to get to the point where I started showing myself more grace and mercy.
Yeah.
Another thing is your feelings are valid. Whenever you feel something about somebody, or if somebody does something to you and you feel this type of way, you shouldn't just dismiss it just out of love. And that's just not to say romantically. That's friendships, parents, cousins, whoever it may be. Your feelings are valid. When somebody does something and it rubs you the wrong way, there's a reason why it rubs you the wrong way. Still, your feelings are valid. Another big one is don't hide the emotion. Don't internalize the emotions. Allow the emotions to flow free, because you're hindering or putting off your healing when you do that. A lot of times we try to, in the moment we're sad, we don't want to cry. The more you try to hold it in, the harder you're going to cry. And the longer you're going to cry trying to get over that one moment. Just go ahead and let it out. Free. Let it be free. Let it flow. And you'll feel so much better after this. It's your cleansing, is what we say.
That's it, that cleansing, and that's what it's all about. And when you think about when the born again, I call it the born again. The Bible speaks that we must be born again, and that's why I think I'm getting understanding that concept now. Being born again, be born again spiritually, but it's like we learning life. We starting out over again, even though we may experience life on a physical aspect, but now we learn how to experience life on a more spiritual aspect. Where we know it starts on the inside. We're constantly renewing the mind on a regular basis to experience that newness. And I just believe that it's that individual on the inside of us that we truly have not tapped into yet. I remember Cam Newton when he was getting ready to go play with New England Patriots. He was putting out these workout videos and how he was talking to himself. He was communicating with himself. And he said something. He said he never met this Cam before. He never met this other human being that he never knew existed. That this human being right here is on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that it's that person that we have not tapped into on the inside of us yet that's on a whole nother level. Like you mentioned that you want to reach that goddess aspect. So it's like, okay, I have not, even though I got Ebony the Goddess, but I have not tapped into that persona, if that makes sense, of the goddess. That's a whole nother realm. That's a whole nother level. That's not even Ebony. I'm talking about you tap into a source that it's gonna scare a lot of people, if that makes sense. May even scare you. Who knows? But the phenomenal of it. That's why I'm gonna get back. The phenomenal of it. Coming to your new identity. It's like Clark Kent, Superman, Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
Batman. You know what I'm saying? We all have that person we have to tap into in order to take on everything that we have to take on. That's how I want to get on to that one. My next question, I want to ask you this too, Ebony. If you could travel, what place would it be and why?
There's a lot of places I want to travel. Like, I really want to see everything that I can see.
Mm.
Um, I have to go to Africa. I know, of course, Africa is a continent. I don't have any specific place in Africa just yet because I want to see all of it. I want to see everything.
Right.
Something as simple as just looking at the dirt, I want to see it all because I feel like we're connected to everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So because we're connected to everything, I want to see everything.
Yeah.
And another thing is, a lot of people love to say what feels like home. How do you really know where it feels like home if you haven't been everywhere?
I agree. I agree totally. Because it's a beautiful world we live in. You should want to get out. And that's another thing I'm investing to. I'm investing to me a passport. Because that's something you should be able to go out there and travel and see the world. And that's what I want to do. Buy me a passport. I want to be able to go see Italy and Rome. And I always wanted to go visit Toronto, Canada. They said Toronto, Canada, like New York City in Canada. But go visit places up there. Just in, we have to become interesting people. The book that I read called The Art of Living, it says people are drawn to interesting people. You have to live an extraordinary life. If you're not living an extraordinary life, people don't want to talk to you because your life is lame, boring, dull. That's why you have to get away from around people who are complacent. Get away from around people who procrastinate. Get away from around people who talk but don't want to be about it. Don't want to put in the work. No, it's like you have to break with from people. That's just a beautiful thing. But so I know you do spoken word. So what you said all places. So what would be the main place that you would do a spoken word event at outside United States?
Outside the United States, I still have to say Africa.
Okay.
Um, there's something about the different cultures in Africa. Each individual culture has its own, its own theme, and I feel like I could benefit heavy off of that. I recently wrote a poem, probably in the last year, where I was trying to relate natural hair to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back to, your natural hair is like going to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how much of that poem was talking about myself. So it made me more interested. So I have been watching, more documentaries about different historical places in Africa and learning about different things in Africa. So that's why I said Africa specifically. But I could say the Congo is probably the place where I've been watching the most videos. So probably the Congo. First, we're gonna say first. That's the
Okay.
first stop.
All right, that's it. So do
Yeah.
by speaking about you said Africa, do you right now envision how the whole setup would be on stage? Do you envision that right now?
Uh, I can't give them nobody but me, So honestly, it's just gonna be me. The only thing though is I would want to be amongst the people and the culture first before I sit on the stage. Because one thing about me is when I go somewhere, I always take little things with me, not necessarily physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I feel like just being amongst the people will maybe invoke something, maybe a song or something. You never know. I may hear one little song or I may hear the drums beat and then it inspires something else to take to the stage with me. So, but if I had to give you like a visual, I definitely see me, in the correct attire, the African attire with no shoes on, no shoes
I see
on.
that. I see that.
And then have the head wrap, and then the little the sacral facial paint and things. Yeah, I see that.
Awesome stuff. And my
Yeah.
next question is, what sound advice have you gotten that you stick with today?
Oh, so my brother, his name is I am. He's a poet as well.
Okay, big shout out to him.
Not my birth brother. I'm an only child.
Okay,
Um,
but still big shout out to I am. That's
yeah,
powerful. I am is powerful. Go ahead.
yes. He told me something a long time ago. He said that uh, emotions are not our own. Our emotions are not our own. So essentially, what he was saying was, when we feel something, the reason why we get those emotions is because they don't belong to us. And so when he said that, I was like, hmm. So I could take it two different ways, but I understand where he's coming from with it. When I get mad at something, it's not something that I'm trying to ridicule you for, but it's more so a behavior I'm trying to change with the anger, if that makes sense, or make
Okay.
you more aware of something. And so I look for things when I'm mad to understand what I'm actually trying to convey and communicate with people. And it helps me be more empathetic to the situation at hand. So something as simple as, let's say, I tell my son to take the trash out, he doesn't take the trash out, I get mad. Instead of just getting mad, I reflect on myself. Okay, well, what are you actually trying to say? What are you actually trying to communicate to him in this anger, in this space? And then I simply tell him, you got to get the trash taken out, because if you don't want roaches in here and you don't want the house dirty, then you got to take the trash out. This is your responsibility. This is something that we all have to do. We all have certain things that we have to do. So it's helped me. Something as simple as him telling me that has helped me communicate better. And communication is something that a lot of people need to learn how to do better.
I agree. I mean, totally, because that communication is very important, and you got to communicate. That's very important. Communication, they say, is key, but we say it's key, but we don't apply it. It'll never be key until we apply it. Communicate. Now, it's another thing. Learn how to communicate with ourselves too. Is
That's
important. It's important to communicate. So I learned how to communicate. I'm being tongue tied now. Communicate with myself as well. So you still want to communicate with yourself. And like I said, and like how you did, you broke it down to your son. So when he got, because like the Bible says, with all thy getting, get a good understanding. So that's what people lack. If they're not getting an understanding, then they just gonna miss it. So they have to, with all thy getting, get a good understanding. So you gave him a good understanding of what's the meaning behind taking out the trash. You're just saying, take out the trash. Or why you take the trash out? Explain to him, hey, if you don't take the trash out, this will happen. A, B, C, D will happen. And that's the purpose of taking out the trash. Because you don't want to bring in roaches. You don't want to have no odor in your house, because trust me, you walk in the door, that odor gonna hit somebody right in the nose, and you don't want that odor going around. So that's good. You break things down to him so he can understand. So okay, I understand what you're saying now, Mom. I get it now. Okay, now he has understanding. If you just told him to take the trash out, he would not grasp the understanding of it. But you broke it down to him. That's good. I like that. My next question is, we know that it's already 2022. We know we're already in November, going into December. So do you have any things booked for November and December going into 2023?
Well, everything that I've been doing lately has been just the regular shows, like with Step to the Mic, my poetry troupe, some things on Clubhouse with the clubs that I'm in on Clubhouse. I'm kind of preparing more so shifting into 2023, because I've got like some things for Valentine's Day already booked, and looking to get some things for, I think it's April, booked. But I'm actually traveling more too. I just came from Atlanta this past weekend, checking out a show.
Okay.
So I'm going to be touching some stages I haven't been to, which is a little, a little nerve wracking. But at the same time, one thing about me is because, like I said, I walk in my truth. My presence is felt every time I walk in the room. So I don't have to, I don't have to try. I don't have to have tactics and, do special things to get my message across. A lot of times when people can hear, it's because I'm learning to communicate, but because people can hear the truth in my poetry, and they can understand where I am, where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to convey. It makes it easier with the poetry. It's not something I'm just doing, that I take lightly, and I think people can hear that too.
Yeah, because it's all about being a student of the game. You perfect what you do. You strive in what you're doing. You take it seriously. There's not nothing that you playing around with. You're not wasting your time, and you don't want to waste anybody else's time. So that's very, very important that you take what you do seriously. And like I said, it's not for everybody, but it's something you just take seriously. Like, hey, I don't play around with this. This is what I love to do. This is what I'm passionate about. And I'm going to put in 1,000 to 2,000% into what I do. So that's what it's all about. And my next question I'm asking you, so when you do traveling, do you prefer to fly or drive? Which one you prefer?
I'm very price conscious, we'll say. So I prefer to drive, but
Okay.
it's also because I like to be able to stop when I want to stop. I like to something about driving just completely helps me space out any stress or anything that I'm thinking about when I'm home. I don't have that. I completely, as soon as I leave the driveway, I completely disconnect from all of the stress and all of the things. So driving does something for me. A lot of my best poem ideas are thought out while driving. A lot of them are prepped, I guess you could say, through driving. Sometimes I dream poems, and then by me going on a long trip, it gives me the time to actually process the dream and understand what I'm supposed to write, what I'm trying to write, or what I'm trying to say, and it helps a lot. My, I guess you could say, probably my three top poems were thought out thoroughly during driving. So yeah, and I talk to myself. Don't don't
Hey, it's
judge
not, hey, we all do.
me.
Hey, we all do. So, hey.
Well, people like to judge me, but yeah, if you pull up beside me on the highway, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm either practicing the poem or I'm talking to myself.
Hey, you got to. Either you're gonna talk yourself in it or you're gonna talk yourself out of it. So you want to
Right.
talk yourself into it, don't want to talk yourself out of it. And I know we are great things, like I said, that you got going on, of course. We know you mentioned the Valentine's that coming up for next year. So we know. So this week, you have any shows lined up for this week? I know it's Thanksgiving week, and I know a lot of things shut down, and people say they on vacation with family and stuff, but how's it with Ebony? Is she put everything on hold, or is she still grinding this thing out for the rest of the week?
I'm very family oriented and I still have a 9 to 5. So anytime that I can just chill, I try to do that. So this particular year, the last probably 3.5 years, every single weekend I was hitting stages. Every single, sometimes multiple stages a week. So I'm finally this year got to a point where I can kind of, I hadn't got as many calls. So I'm like, okay, yeah, just relax and chill. I'm kind of prepping, like I said, the book that I'm working on. I have about 4 different book ideas. So I'm kind of working on each one to see what I come up with. And next year, whichever one that I feel is that I'm got it more to finish is the one I'm gonna go ahead and finish and get my editor on and everything. So that's more so what I'm kind of doing. I'm spacing out so I can kind of get my thoughts together for the book.
Okay, awesome. And like I said, do you have any final remarks you want to leave here with the audience that's watching us right now, live streaming? It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Anchor Podcast. So, do you have any final remarks you want to leave with the audience here tonight that's going to challenge them like they've never been challenged before in a good way. I want to say that in a good way.
I try to challenge people in a good way. Um, well, for me, I guess the biggest thing, I've kind of been marinating on this the last couple weeks actually myself. Um, but enjoy the process. And when I say that, I don't just mean enjoy the thing that you're doing that you like doing. Also, take the time with your family because family family's fleeting. A lot of times we don't realize how important those times with your grandma at her 90th birthday party are until she's gone, and then you wish you could get it back. So take that time now. You never know how important it is to see your cousin until she's gone. You know, the things that you take for granted now are the things that you're gonna wish that you had taken advantage of after the fact. So do whatever you can to be present, not just for family, but also for friends, for associates, whoever you care about. If they're on your list of people that you care about, if they can be on your proud list, make sure that they're actually on your list of drive-bys as well. Do those check-ins, make sure they're good. If you just have to sit there while they're crying and they're not feeling good, be that person for them, be that rock, because those moments are precious and you never know when you're going to need them.
That's it. And another thing, they may let stuff go too. Stuff that happened in the past, let this stuff go. It's all about moving forward. You know, the past is the past. That's what it is, the past. We just focus on the present. Don't even focus on the future because the activist tells us don't worry about the future. Concentrate on the present. Because if you concentrate on the present, you'll take care of the future. If you still, you know how you see back in the day, I'm looking forward to the future. But if we have not done anything to correct our present, we just gonna repeat the same thing in the future. So you know you got any hangups or you got anything that's blocking you, change that right now so your future will take care of. Not you repeat the same thing in the future if you have not corrected that thing before. So be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, look yourself in the mirror. And like I said, we're about to get off the air tonight. We thank everybody for hanging out with us here tonight on the podcast. The replay will be up, of course, you know that. But like I said, man, I want y'all to have a great night. I want y'all to be blessed, stay fortunate, and most importantly, and also I want to tell y'all this too. Remember the graveyard. Everybody in the graveyard had one thing in common. They thought they were gonna see tomorrow, and they did. So let's live life like it's our last. And most importantly, you know what time it is. Get your favorite drink. When you drink wine, soda, tea, whatever you drink, coffee, whatever you drink, take your favorite drink tonight. Pour yourself a glass. Look yourself in the mirror. Give yourself a toast. Tell yourself, I love you. Tell yourself, I got your back. Tell yourself, we going to win. Tell yourself, we going to succeed. Tell yourself, we going to conquer. Tell yourself, we're, we're the head and not the tail. Tell yourself that we're above and not beneath. Tell yourself that we are going to make it. And most importantly, give yourself a toast and tell yourself, hey, I got your back. We're going to ride this thing out to the end. So most importantly, man, y'all love yourself. Take care of yourself. Those who wrong you, those who walked out on you, let that stuff go. That move on. Them people had their time. You know the old saying. You're gonna have people in your life for a season or for a lifetime. The ones who are there for a season, their time was up. But those there for a lifetime, they always gonna be there. So man, y'all be good, be sweet, like they say. Most important, love yourself, love those around you. And we're going to be back here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way Impact Wars podcast. I will be doing another episode tomorrow. Next week, I'll be doing three shows next week. I'll be doing Monday morning at 10 o'clock, of course, Tuesday night and Wednesday, of course. So a lot of shows be coming up. Also, I will be doing a Saturday morning edition of Walking This Way Impact Wars podcast. That's going to kick off for January 2023. So adding more shows here on the platform as well. Big shout out to Anna C. Big shout out to Kenny Primetime Williams. Big shout out to Coach Shay as well. They're known here on Tuesday night, but big shout out to them, of course. But like I said, man, y'all have a great night. Also, Ebony, go ahead and plug in your platforms. How can they get in contact with you? How can they follow you? Go ahead, let it rip.
You can find me on all social media as Ebony Tha Goddess. It's EBONY THAGODDESS. You can also follow me personally on my personal page, Ebony Bradley. I'm on Facebook, IG, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't really be on Twitter much. And then if you are looking to book me or just want to contact me personally, you can also hit me up on my email. It's ebonythegoddess@gmail.com.
Man, awesome. Like I said, man, y'all have a great night. Enjoy your night. I know Thanksgiving is coming up, so eat good. Be thankful. Be thankful for your family. Be thankful for your friends. If you do gotta work, of course, I gotta work Thursday night. I'm getting time and a half. But man, y'all have a great week, man. Have a great week. Enjoy your week. Celebrate you. And most importantly, it's already November 22nd. Let's finish November out at a high playing level. Let's go into December in a high playing level all the way to 2023. Let's win it out at the end of the day. May y'all be blessed. And I'll see y'all back here tomorrow night on Walking This Way Impact Force Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way Impact Force. Y'all have a blessed night, everybody. Peace.